Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I know I have been MIA, but I'm here today with a very special guest. Last year I made a video where I talked about 4 lessons that I've learned in 4 years of marriage, and I said that from a woman's perspective. But this year, as we're celebrating our 5th anniversary, I decided to invite a very special guest, my husband, to come share with us from a man's perspective lessons that he has learned in 5 years of marriage. So if you're interested in these types of video, please stay tuned till the end. All right, welcome back. Sir, I would like you to introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you for inviting me to your YouTube channel. My name is Efe Imibradu, and we have been married for 5 years, happily, fruitfully.
What lessons have you learned in the last 5 years being married to your beautiful wife? Have they told you that your wife is beautiful?
Of course, and I know myself. All right. There's so many lessons, learned over the past 5 years. But just to highlight a few, first, communication is very key, it's very vital. Everyone that's married will say communication is very key. It is true. When you communicate, you tend to resolve issue quickly, easily. So I would say communicating your desires, your feelings, your frustrations, your goals, your achievements. When you do these things, when you communicate with each other, you tend to strengthen your bonds, deeply, and tend to resolve issue quickly. So communication is very vital. When you communicate, you hardly communicate to a third party. So I will encourage everyone to communicate everything, no matter how big, no matter how small. Communicate is very key and vital in a marriage, in a relationship.
So communication is very key for every marriage. Yes, it's very important to, share. Like what I said, I remember I mentioned something in this regard in the video I made last year. Your husband or your spouse is not a mind reader. So if there's anything that that doesn't sit well with you, or anything that's not done to how you would have loved it to be done, instead of keeping that thing in your heart and building resentment, speak about it. It's not as if when you talk, somebody will come and flog you. Speak about it, talk about it. It's also important with the way you communicate what you are saying exactly. Don't communicate from a standpoint of resentment, or you're already angry. The thing has already boiled. That's when you want to now start. So yeah, before things get out of hand, you communicate and say, "How about, babe? You should have done it like this. I would have actually preferred it this way," and you both come to an agreement. All right, thank you very much. So, what other lesson? What's the next lesson you'd like to share with us from your well of wisdom, sir?
Well, always. All right. Secondly, studying the Word of God. It's very important. You for us as married couple, we tend to study the Word of God. And even before we started our relationship, we studied the Word of God together. This has helped us to bond. There's a way the Word of God glue your bonds together. There's a way the Word of God, ignites love between a married person. So I would encourage every married person, to keep studying the Word of God, not just alone with your spouse. This helps, communicate. This helps your communication. It helps you build your relationship in God. And from the spiritual perspective, man is a spirit. And if you want to positively influence your physical well-being, you need to be well spiritually. So studying the Word of God helps you, live healthy from the spiritual level to the soulical level and to the physical level. So study the Word of God, read the Word of God to each other, help each other to grow spiritually, to grow in God. From Proverbs, it said that when you cease from knowledge, that's from the Word of God, when you cease to study the Word of God, you tend to drift away from God. So also in marriage, when you lack the Word of God in your marriage, you tend to drift apart. You tend to live an independent life from each other, which is not a good thing. So the word of God has power to bring, your bond, especially from the soul level and to the physical level. So for example, when we started dating, you know, our love, our deep love we have today was, the word of God gave birth to it. You can testify to that. Yeah. So the word of God helps us develop love deeply. It helps us to, to even communicate better, to study it every day, meditate on it, share new findings. You always get new findings on the word of God. The word of God is new every day. So when you study, tend to share your findings, to help strengthen your marriage.
Yes, yes, it's true. I want to say something here. Studying the word of God together as a married couple keeps you
Yeah.
both on the same page. It
Yeah.
keeps you both on the same page. Like he said, sharing your findings. So when he says, "Oh, babe, as I was reading this book, did you know that so and so?" And I'm like, "Oh," so it keeps you on the same page that when you're making decisions, you people have been learning together. So kind of like your mind has been built together. So when you study the word together as a couple, it keeps your mindset together that when you're making decisions, you're on the same page. Yes. Do you have something else you want to say on that?
No, that's it
All
for
right.
now.
So what other lesson have you learned in 5 years of marriage?
All right. I would say it said that a couple that prays together stays together. So prayer too can also help. It has helped us. It's something that I've learned over the years. It said that if a man builds a house, he builds in vain unless God builds the house, from the psalmist. So prayer can never be emphasized as well. Pray as a couple together. Pray for your wife, for your children, pray for your spouse. Trust. This helps both couples to trust God. Together. There's a prayer of unity. When a couple prays together, you hardly see that couple on how do they call it? Is it ununited?
In this
In
unity.
this unity, yes. You hardly see a couple that prays together all the time in this unity. So it has helped me. It has helped us to stay together. To be deeply together. So I'll encourage everyone to pray together, those married. It's also said that iron sharpness iron. You get, so when you pray together you help build up your partner as well. And it's also said that one which is 1,000 and two 10,000. It's easy to get victory when you pray together. Fourthly, I'll say you don't have to understand to be understanding. Or am I right?
You don't have to understand to be understanding. Please shed more light, sir, from your wealth of wisdom. Shed more light.
You don't need to understand to be understanding. So over the years, for these 5 years, I have come to understand that women, the way God built women, they are built with so much emotions, so much feeling. Yes, it's the truth. Yes, women are filled with so much emotions. Women are emotional feelers, unlike men that are not. So, so when you get married to when you get married, you know, you tend to experience some of these emotional episodes.
Wow, wow,
Yes,
wow.
you tend to experience them. So, and sometimes because of you are a man, you know, actually
You can't relate.
you hardly relate because you are not emotional like a woman. So that's where communication comes in. The woman has to speak up, especially when sometimes it could be mood swing. Yes, it can be different kind of emotion. When those emotions, those feeling comes up, it's very important for the woman to communicate to the man. You know, it also helps the man understand as well. And for the man, you don't need to fully understand what's going on. Just try the possible best to help. I'll cite an example just to clarify my points. You know, when my wife was pregnant with our first son, she she had this rush of emotion. Me, I could not understand, yes, but she also helped me to a level of understanding that she just needed, so I should just sit with her and hold her. You get. So I could not understand. I just sat with her, hold her, and we're just there quiet for a while. And that's, you know, that mood swing just fizzed out. You know, I did not understand, but I was understanding. You get. So you don't need to understand sometimes, yeah, to be understanding. Most of the time, because when I feel emotion, you need to understand that sometimes you don't need to understand what's going on at that moment because they just want to be at that time. So you just had to give, encourage, just have to be supportive at that moment by being understanding, even though you don't understand what's going on. So,
Yes, yes, it's true. Women are emotional beings. It's very
yeah.
important to be understanding even when you don't understand what is happening, what is going on exactly. Yeah, I agree. All right, so the final lesson, but not the least, that you have to share with us today.
Yeah, finally, I would say never stop learning and improving your marriage. So, what I mean is never stop acquiring knowledge to improve your marriage. Never stop finding different ways of improving your marriage. God says in Hosea that my people perish for lack of knowledge. You get. So this applies to all walks of life, including marriage. You know, when you lack knowledge in your marriage, knowledge in how you relate to your wife, on how you relate to your children, your marriage and your relationship with your children tends to suffer. So always try to seek out knowledge, always try to attend seminars, conferences. Especially the technology age has made things easier. You don't need to go anywhere. You can just hook up live to conferences and seminars on marriage. Yeah, before I got married and now that I'm married, I've been reading books, going through uh, seminars, going for seminars, not necessarily physical seminars, could be online as well. I've come to learn a lot, about the woman. I've come to learn even about myself, the man, the male man. The man is a spirit being. But when you put the male man and the female man in context, you're talking about the physical, the body, the physical body. Yes. So when you learn about, the male and the female man, it helps your relationship. For example, I've come to know that women are incubators. Whatever an incubator takes in gives it life and gives it back. An incubator doesn't hold anything. So no matter the how much it tarries, it always gives it back. So just imagine you get married to your wife, and if you give your wife a word, she gives you a sentence. That's like an incubator. So woman's like an incubator. If you give her a sentence, she gives you a paragraph.
Alright.
You give her a paragraph, she gives you.
Textbook.
If you give a woman grocery, she gives you a meal. If you give a woman frustration, she gives you hell. So, with this knowledge, you need to be careful what you give your wife on a daily basis. If you want a happy home, just give her just some level of happiness. You'll be surprised what she will give back to you. Bundle of joy and happiness. And also be careful, be watchful what your wife also listen to. This is where communication is very key. During the course of your wife's daily activity, it's very important you discuss with her, you check on her, you ask her how her day went. All this is just to know what she had heard, what she has been doing during the day, so that you can be able to wash her with the word. One of the responsibility Christ gave to us is to love our wives by washing her with the word. What that means is whatever thing she has taken in that is not of God, it is the man's responsibility to wash her, to wash that thing away. Whatever it is, anything ungodly she has heard. Because she's an incubator, she receives everything. The woman is also a receiver. She doesn't hold back. She receives everything. But as a man, you are responsible to wash away those ungodly parts and to wash her with the word. Yeah, put a check, exactly. This also is an advice to women. Should be careful what they. That's why the Bible speaks against gossip. Especially for women. Talk to your wife, communicate with your wife. You know, I believe I'm trying in that
Yes,
aspect.
yes. It's trying.
This is just for you to know and put a check to some of these things, because if she incubates those things, funny enough, those things can be incubated for years. One day she will just explode, and you'll be amazed of what will come out of it. So put a check on what your wife listens to. It's very important.
How do you put a check on what your wife listens to?
Okay, like I said, when you strike a conversation with your wife, when you communicate with her, you spot some of those things. So when in your quiet time, you have to come sit with her, talk to her, tell her this is not right. This is not in line with our principles. So you need to stop doing this. I would have loved to give an example, but the one between me and my wife is private. So I wouldn't want to go that. But basically, anything that is not in line with the word of God, anything that is not in line with you personally as your husband, that your wife says or do, you need to you need to call our attention to it. And lastly, I would also say, improving your marriage by acquiring knowledge or learning. Let me cite this example. We always try to read books together. Me and my wife, we always try to acquire knowledge, whether through seminars or through online conferences. And this helps our resolve. This helps us to come back to ourselves where we are doing better, where we need to improve on. So always seek out knowledge, always learn something new, to improve your marriage, so that your marriage will not suffer or perish. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this channel to share with us from your wealth of knowledge. We are blessed. We are blessed, and we are glad. We are grateful. Thank you so much. And this has brought us to the end of this video. So if you've learned one or two things, you enjoy this, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Let's interact. Let's talk. And yes, please wish us happy marriage anniversary. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Peace.
Bye.